Hello, traveler. It's good to see you. Welcome to the revolution. Right now, we are witnessing the apocalypse of the old world, and with it, the old ideas of society and civilization. Old ideas like us versus them. And you'll find that all institutionalized religions and social viruses are founded on this principle. This principle has never served us, only them. And reality has also shown that there is no them, only us playing a counterintuitive, self-destructive game. And this is where it ends. Nature loves us and has spent an incalculable amount of time getting us here, but she will let us destroy ourselves. I refuse to let that happen without a fight, especially when the solution is so simple. We just have to recognize what time it is. Culture has never been so malleable and accessible to so many of us. It's in our hands at all times. And the old chains that once bound us all, racially, mentally, and culturally, have begun to rust and fall away. It's a beautiful thing to witness, but we're missing something crucial in all of this upheaval and liberation. And that something is a collective culture, a cultural center. And this culture is shared by us all, and we all have a part to play in its creation. It may seem like culture is a runaway train with no brakes, but it's not. It's as malleable as our brains and our beliefs. We're creating culture in every moment, but most of us don't realize it. We're doing it unconsciously, with every like, every comment, every interaction with another human being. We've severely underestimated the power of our interactions. Those little moments that seem small and comprise our entire day. These are the ingredients of culture. And over here, we transmute those ingredients into a new, sustainable, harmonious culture. A home for our shared values. A haven for our unique, original perspectives. An active purging of the things we will no longer tolerate. A manifesto of mental, spiritual, and physical reclamation. And it all starts with you. Over here, we are reclaiming and affirming the virtues and values that make life worth living for every human. This podcast is a demonstration of the energy that will tear down the old structures and ideological prisons that have bound us all. It is a rebellious resistance against the tides of ideological warfare that currently plague us, all with the help of one of our most powerful collective weapons. That power is open, honest communication and quality conversation. You will see that power and the joy and freedom demonstrated in every episode. You will feel the calling to bring that energy into your life consciously, and we will reclaim our collective cultural center from the inside out, one conversation at a time. If that resonates with you, then welcome to the tribe. It's good to see you. Okay, there we go. All right.
What?
Welcome to another moment featuring a very special soul. Welcome to It's Good to See You, formerly known as Symbiosis, but that was one of the developments I learned from the previous episode. Whether or not that's going to remain the previous episode remains to be seen. But the purpose of this work is to make transparent the magic of the creative process and to celebrate differences, to discuss what maintains a healthy relationship, and to demonstrate how better ideas come about. Today, I have the honor of hosting a dear friend, a brother, by the name of Cedric.
Yo.
Cedric is a kindred soul. I believe our first interaction was philosophical in nature, happenstance, we ended up talking longer than intended. And somehow I just knew deep down that I had made a dear friend. And here we are, many years later, still rocking, still kicking, lots of things happening. Ladies, gentlemen, aliens, dogs, pets, they, thems, dragons, fairies, people of the
Aliens.
universe.
All
I
of them.
present Cedric.
What's up?
How are you, bud?
Doing great, brother. That was over 10 years ago. That was
Goodness
over 10
gracious.
years ago that I saw that you had that book, A Mind's Eye, which I still need to check out.
That's right.
And I was like, whoa, somebody is over here thinking.
Mm.
Somebody has a mind. I need to. What 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 are you about? Wait, whoa. And you play fight? You play Tekken? Okay, okay. First of all, I'm gonna beat you in Tekken, bro. That's gonna happen.
And you did.
Secondly, I need to know what's going on in your mind. You know, I mean, I beat you in Tekken, but you messed me up in King of Fighters. So you know,
Yeah, I guess there is a balance to the universe,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it wasn't long before you had my number there too, man.
I mean,
I'd say we definitely got to get our fighting game marathons back at some point. I'd love to improve with you in one of these new titles eventually, but yeah, man.
yo, anytime,
Um,
anytime.
I love what you said about this person has a mind. I think that's exactly how I felt with you, man. I was like, this is a thinker. This is a man. This man's got his eyes open. He's seeking something.
Looking for, and there are some people that I meet that I actually there was a guy that I met recently who he's one of my coworkers, and he is pretty quiet for the most part. You know, like he came in, and I could tell that he was just like kind of. I was like, even from the first moment I interacted with him, I was like, I know there's more to you, bro. I see you, just so you know. And he just laughed, you know. And like a couple months later, he invited to come hang out, and I was like, yeah, man, sure, like for real, yeah. He was like, yeah, bro, like for real. I was like, yeah, all right, bro, I got you. Like I will be there, bro. So I met up with him one time, and I kind of got to see how he's perceiving the world, and it's it is definitely a conversation to be had. Like he was, I actually think that he might be a good fit for this too. So I did talk to him a little bit about this too, and
I love it.
he is very receptive. Not just to this. So I don't know. He's a very open minded person, and people who think, man, I mean, not everybody thinks, but people who are, I guess, trying to figure out this experience and trying to see what is going on, what is this, what are we doing here,
Right.
you know?
Really, really contemplating the mystery.
Yeah,
Well, I'd love
and
to meet him, dude. And it's funny that that ties directly into what this show is really about, man. It's about seeing through the eyes of each other. It's good to see you. Foundationally, is about being seen and about seeing. And I think that's the thing, man. We are our world right now, socially, we're made up of individuals that need to be seen. Like it's a biological need to be seen.
yeah,
But what we're seeing isn't people, we're seeing things, we're seeing circumstances, and it's at the expense of the human being that does have value, that does have purpose, that is worthy of love. And I want to restore that, man. I want to restore that. I want to set examples of that. I want people to experience the magic of seeing and being seen.
awesome.
And so that's what we're doing here, man. So the first section of the show is all about common values, establishing our common grounds, establishing the things that mean the most to us as human beings. And so I'd like to ask you the question of what would you say your core values are, Cedric? What are the things that
Core
excite you and inspire you about your human experience in the world around you?
core value, a huge one. What immediately comes to mind is connection. That a real connection. Um, not
Is
that
there
good
any way you
connection.
can speak a little closer to the mic? You are a little low
Yes,
right now, by the way.
is that better?
Try say some stuff.
Let's test this. Give me 1 second. How is that?
A little better. That'll do. That'll do. Just enunciate. We should be good. Because I can
How
I can
is
turn
that?
you up in post.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. So I'm just gonna turn. Oh, is that still okay?
Yeah, this'll do.
Okay. So I would say that a huge one for me is connection with people. Um, connection and let's see. Okay, well, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit on connection.
Yes,
So
please.
there are people who come into my life who I can rely on. You being one of those people who I know has good intentions for me. Um, and sometimes, like obviously we're all human, so I understand that we're all gonna have our own lives, and um, sometimes we may not be able to give fully of ourselves to another person. That's just how our life goes.
Hmm.
Um, but nonetheless, like at the end of the day, that you're in that person's heart. That I know that I'm in. I could say your heart. I know that I'm in some friends' hearts that are out here when I like go and drive um a couple hours to go see them. I know that regardless to what happens, like I know that I am in these people's hearts. And I guess for me, like that's like a level of presence. I know that they care. Um, and that matters very deeply to me, because like they have seen me at different points in my life. Um, at different, whether that's like a point that was a low or a point that I was figuring out, or hey, we're just hanging out. Like you can be in any mental state with these people. That is fire to me,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So
That freedom to be where you are, as you
yes,
are.
yes, you don't have to show up in any particular way. Um, so I'd say that that is hugely important, and I would say freedom. Freedom is another one um, that I value, but that one is uh, that one is kind of weird because I feel free but not free. I feel free in the sense that I can always be myself. I can always tap into my essence and who Cedric is. Um, but not free in the sense that there are people that I'd like to be able to spend time with and travel to and make experiences with that I am not able to do currently. So that um, that is something that is also hugely valuable to me. Because we only get so much time on this planet. I feel like I just kind of got more conscious, and I'm getting more conscious. Um, I don't want to just say conscious as a buzzword, but I'm more aware of my experience. I'm more aware of like, hey, there's a limited amount of time on this planet. There are people that I really enjoy being around, and there are people who are kind of cool, but maybe just not as cool to me as the people that I love to be around. And I would like to spend more of my life being around those people. So that's why I say freedom is like pretty important for me. Um,
That's huge, brother. That's huge. And I'm curious as well. You say freedom in my mind, financial freedom, freedom of time. These things come to mind. Is that something that you're seeking in the immediate future? Is that something you're planning for later? Like, are you looking to liberate yourself and your time quickly? Like, what's your approach to that?
I'm definitely looking to liberate myself quickly, um, as quickly as possible, I would say, but not. But okay, wait a minute. Let me take that back. Not quickly, because I understand that one thing that I've learned is that patience is very important. Um,
Yeah.
I've learned that there are things that can go as fast as they come. So it's very important to understand that that is a process. That is a process to build toward. And in the meantime, while I am building, I'll continue to maintain those relationships and prioritize them because that's part of what I'm doing this for. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I'm okay with that being a gradual process, and but that nonetheless, like that is what I'm pursuing.
I love it,
That's
man.
what I want to build toward. Yeah.
That makes two of us, man. I think one of the reasons why I finally got started on this particular project, like rolling it out and planning it, is recognizing that when it comes to an artistic endeavor, like just purely artistic, not um, necessarily like finance based, growth of an artistic project or something like this, that the product is culture, time is your best friend. And time is generally always your best friend when it comes to any vision or endeavor, but it behaves differently. Time
How's that?
for, so I would say time with art is like time with money in a savings account that has a high yield. And so to start, yeah, it just seems like little bits and pieces are being added. It's not substantial in the short term, but what is created over time with consistent growth is actually exponential, right? So
Interesting.
50 cents a day ends up becoming several dollars, with time. And
Yep.
it still seems small, but that momentum, that is what, to me, really reflects how culture changes. Culture is a slow game. It seems like culture changes very quickly, but it doesn't. What we witness are what Malcolm Gladwell says, he calls them tipping points. Right. It's when these gradual, circumstantial, and sometimes luck based changes all come to a nexus, and then there's an explosion that reverberates out through culture. And so it seems like it all happens in a moment. We
Yeah.
all start doing that one dance. We all start wearing this one jacket or these shoes. But no, it
It's
actually
been a
starts on a very
process.
small, exactly. And it catches, it spreads almost like a virus does. And so
Mm.
it is my intent to engineer or manufacture a new type of virus, but this virus empowers us. This virus restores something fundamental to us. And so it is in that way that I feel that time is the ally that this particular artistic vision needs.
Mm. I know that it will take time. So when you say that you are creating that virus, what is what is that virus? I might have missed.
That's okay. I
I
didn't
don't think that I
specify
missed
it.
it too much in terms of. I think you might have when you opened the show.
Yeah, but I think associationally. And so there might be a footnote or an anchor in there that I don't put any emphasis on verbally. And it's easy to miss. And it's something that I love about conversation because we can travel back or emphasize things that have already been said, but it's not written down anywhere. It's just somewhere inside of our spirits. And so
Yeah, it's definitely.
the DNA in this virus, the substance of it, it's about established and understood values. I had a realization that culture is actually in the hands of all of us all the time. And so when we look out at the world and we go, man, I don't really like the way we operate in this particular sector. I don't like how much fickle, one dimensional, shallow thinking is prioritized socially. And so we look at these structures like they're immovable. We can't do anything with them.
Right.
And I think nothing can be further from the truth.
Mm.
Personally, I think
Wow.
culture is as malleable as Play-Doh. The issue is that if we don't agree upon what it is we're creating culturally, then culture goes nowhere. So I'm starting at the smallest atom of
Yeah.
culture, and that is our common values and how we relate to the people in our lives. And so this seems just like a run of the mill conversation,
Mm.
but it's anything but.
Wow.
It's an example of how human beings can connect, exchange ideas, and my goal,
Yeah.
my hope, is that people will hear this and feel the genuineness and the sincerity between both of us,
Yeah.
our kinship, our symbiosis, and dare to take it out into their lives. Because if enough people do, we will have successfully taken the reins back on our culture. And that's when it gets exciting.
And what you said about the what you said about it being anything but when it comes to my individual impact, I took what you were saying and applied it to myself, as most
Mm.
people would. When you talked about that, um, I that felt like empowerment, because it's like, hey, I don't have to just be this being that is attempting to go with the flow of the culture, like
Yeah.
I can impact, I can affect this culture. I am here. You know what I mean? Like, I am
Hmm.
here. And so it kind of, I don't want to say call to action. I could say it like brings up, it reminds you of the influence that you can have. Um, I want to say it activates you. I didn't want to use that word because I was like, it feels kind of, but it
I
activates you. So yeah,
love
kind
that,
of
man.
wakes you up.
And that kind of leads perfectly into the next phase of the show, where I had this thought recently, and I'm gonna pose this as a question after I say it. Ideas are constantly coming into our brains and in our minds, and the cornerstone of this show is the exchange of those ideas. It's being able to pass the gems that we've discovered in our lives to one another. I believe that ultimately is what got us here and will get us to a better outcome than things seem to be pointing towards. But here's the thought. I believe that as children, we're given these tools to create a perception of the world. So when you're little and your brain is still developing, you really can't contemplate nuance. You don't really have anything to compare your experience to. You just have the rules. These things are good, these things are bad. Listen to these people, don't listen to these people. You can eat these things, but you cannot eat these things. And it all hinges on a relationship of permission. Mommy, daddy, can I have?
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. I believe that a lot of people are still stuck in that phase mentally. They leave home, they work for themselves, they start putting food on the table for themselves, they start expressing themselves in like their clothing, but ultimately we're still stuck in that childlike framework where our perception of the world is largely a product of the views we were given. And my aim is for us to come back to source. And that source is our own perspective individually.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is, growing up, I was given the traditional Christian archetype of a benevolent God and an evil prince of lies, Satan, right?
Yep.
And the world was just this big clash, kind of like how we talked before recording about the principalities and the demons, right?
Yep.
That is a structure, a lens through which I was given to interpret the world. And it wasn't until a couple years ago, or maybe 1 year ago, not even that long ago, where I stepped outside of that framework. And it was the scariest thing because then I just had my own understanding, my own vision. And one of the key scriptures that stands out from the Bible that I was taught to believe in is not to lean on thine own understanding. And I think a lot of people internalize that. And so they don't trust their vision. They don't trust their perception. They're cut off from the source of their own unique experience.
Mm.
And so we don't get any of your ideas. We don't get any of your unique takes on things. It's all filtered through the lens. And so it's kind of like brewing coffee in reverse. What we want are the grounds. but we
Hmm.
get this liquid that's strained through this structure that was given to us as children to navigate the world. It's important, but it's
Yeah,
not for life. You know what I mean?
it's im-
You gotta step
it's important
outside of
for the
that, you know?
foundation. Yeah, for
You're
the
right. It gives
foundation, it
you
helps out.
bingo. It gives you something to a structure to build upon. And I think the reason why culture has gone awry in so many ways is because people don't realize that it's their job to build on top of what exists. We don't all look at ourselves as builders and shapers of culture, but we
Mm.
are, whether we realize it or not.
That's wild. Yeah, that's true. We're either reinforcing what is already there, or we are creating something different.
Exactly.
And you do have to be mindful when you're stepping out.
Couldn't agree more. So my question to you, Cedric, what are some ways that you feel we can step into our power as builders and shifters of culture? And what are some things that you feel are in the way?
So I would say first thing that comes to mind is a line by Flowbox. I gotta advertise Flowbox,
Understandable, understandable.
and they say the further that I get away from home, the more my world grows. When you
The
step
further
out,
that I get away from home, the more my world grows. Is that what you said?
yes,
Okay.
yes. When you step out of your home environment, when you step out of an environment that you're familiar with, you're exposed to something completely different. When I left California and, people were like really sensitive to emotions and went to the East Coast, I realized that people do not care about my emotions. I mean, they care to a degree. And arguably, maybe they might care. No, never mind. Anyway, there's not as much emphasis on emotions on the East Coast in my experience compared to the West Coast. Um, but that's something that was unfamiliar to me at first. But it does give you a different perspective. It doesn't mean that you have to adopt that perspective, but exposure to that perspective. Once you see that, hey, these people might not care about X, Y, Z, but wow, look what they're doing. Wow, you're able to do this in the course of an hour. That's pretty cool. So what does that new perspective allow them to do? What does that new perspective allow you to do? You can try it on. It's like glasses. It doesn't, like once you put on the glasses, it doesn't mean you have to keep the glasses on. It's okay. You can put them on, take them off as you please. But the more exposure that we get to these different perspectives, we start to realize that, hey, um, life doesn't have to be this way.
Mm,
If I wanted to, I could approach this differently. If I'm around these people, this can be this way. This can be this way. So I think that an awareness, I think that it gives you choices, and when you have choices, and then you can choose how you want to show up, or what you want to present, or what you want to connect to.
yeah.
I think that's one. Um,
I like the
that's
example of the glasses. You can
Yeah.
pick them up, put them on, and put them down. I think that's a huge one. People don't
Mhm.
realize that it's glasses, bro. It's a lens. It's a focal point, and you
Yeah,
can move, you can shift, you can change.
yeah, yeah. We're not. Literally, life is changing all around us. Now that you mention it, like life is constantly changing. Um, Maybe not as much in
Constantly.
California, but and I don't mean that in terms of mindset. I mean that in terms of nature. Like moving to the East Coast, you see all four seasons.
Yeah.
So winter, spring. You notice these changes, and the fact is that you're going to change year by year too, day by day. Is how I change. Unfortunately or fortunately, that's how it goes. But it's just a realization that you're changing. We're changing constantly,
Constant.
um, or at least we have the ability to. So
Yeah.
we are. If we are receptive and like able to, and we want to, I think that there also has to be a level of willingness. Um, I think there has to be like a level of receptivity to these things, and the willingness to like, hey, maybe when they said that, they did not mean it the way that I thought that they did. Maybe
Yeah.
they were just expressing, right? There has to be like a willingness to be open to a degree in order to allow those things to shift your perception. Or or you'll stick with the same perception and you'll see those people as mean, and that will be the end of the story. I met some people who were mean
Yeah.
and I went home. Versus,
Yeah.
versus I met this person, I thought that they were mean, but turns out they actually have the best intentions for me. They just have a different way of presenting it, and it changed my life.
That
Those are
right
very different
there,
routes.
dude, like that right there, that we can change that culturally.
How do you mean?
We have the power to listen to and look at perspectives that directly conflict with our own and walk away with a better idea of the world and perhaps a more refined idea ourselves.
Yeah,
And this is what we stand to lose with echo chambers. Like
that is true.
that is one of the main demons I want to see defeated in our generation. I want to see us standing over that one, man.
Mm. Echo
Because if
chambers.
that, yeah, because then there's no new ideas.
That's
It's
true.
the death of ideas. It's the death of change. It's the death of refinement.
The death of creativity.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
what are humans if not creative?
or creative as hell.
We're gone without that shit, man. Like
Yeah,
that's our soul.
yeah. That's our soul's freedom on the line. That's how I see it.
100%. Damn. I love how that just organically finds its way into the conversation. That's literally why I chose this particular format.
Podcast.
Yeah, the podcast and then more of a loose conversational structure. Because I
Mm.
believe we know what it is we want to say. We know why we're here. We're just not aware. We're cut off from that center where our truth just comes up. I'm not
Yeah,
planning what I'm going to say, but somewhere inside me, deep within me, I know what it is I want to get across. And the words align themselves appropriately. I think there's immense power in that.
yeah. I think it's huge because it's like being guided by something that is internal that wants to come out. Like it's it's being guided by something that's internal that wants to express itself. It wants to come out, and you just have to find the words sometimes, or maybe not the words, maybe the gesture, maybe the movement, maybe I just get the frustration, like whatever
Right.
it might be. Yeah, like
Get it out of you.
it wants to come out. It wants to. It's like it's not anything that you're like, man, like I'm really trying to contrive this for any good reason, like I'm not trying to communicate this for any intent, but the intent that this is something inside of me that feels the need to be expressed right now.
Yeah.
That is it.
It's like opening the dam,
Yeah,
letting that
it's a
water flow through.
flow, letting it flow.
Yep. And right now, culturally, I feel like there's a lot that dams us up. There's a lot, policing our speech, typecasting us before we get to the end of our sentence. This
Yep.
person's like that. They said this. And the thing I love about podcasts is that you can go and listen for yourself. I want to restore that culturally. Okay, this is the general consensus about this. What do I think? When I go and I want to go and watch a movie, for example, I am insufferable to be around leading up to it because I will not have any spoilers of any kind. I don't even like watching trailers, dog.
Wow.
I want the pure, unfiltered experience. I
I
don't even
definitely
use
watch.
strategy guides,
Uh,
dog. For
uh,
games, I don't even do that.
okay,
I will
I could see that.
suffer. I'll spend hours running around. Like,
Even
I'll
if you're
never look
stuck,
it up. Yeah,
damn,
especially if I'm stuck.
dude, that's fucking crazy.
Nigga, I'll roll around for hours
Yeah.
because there's a magic to figuring it out. There's a magic to drawing those conclusions by yourself. But I just think that fundamentally relates to something I want to restore and encourage in culture. I want to encourage people to go and experience it themselves. Forget about trusting what I'm saying. Forget about believe this, believe that. Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
Go and try it yourself. What did you see?
You gotta go
It's good to
experience.
see you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see you.
It's good to
It's
see
good to see you
yourself.
out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see yourself through the actions that you do. You'll start to
Absolutely.
see, oh, this is who I am. Like recently, um, I was feeling pretty down, and I realized that regardless of how down I get, like I imagine myself an image of me lying flat on my back completely, but that right wrist though, it would still be up. That right
Huh.
wrist would still be up because that is something that I'm like, no, dude, like I am here. I am here,
Yeah.
even if in the slightest degree. I am here.
I'm
I
still
am here.
kicking.
Like that's that's how I see me. You know,
I
like
love that.
that's not that's not my always state. I'm not always in that. I'm not on my. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there now right now. Like, but
Yeah.
if I ever was, that's where I would be. I'm still here.
I feel this relates a little bit to the experience that MOBA video game players all experience, where things aren't going the way that you want them to. Y'all getting stomped. But
Yep.
at no point will I start giving up. At
Yep.
no point, no matter how hopeless the situation is, I'm staying till the end of the match. I'm fighting in every fight.
Yep.
I'm trying to get the team to group up. I don't care if I'm talking to a bunch of people that are already logged off. My wrist is up, dog.
Yep. Yep. Let's see what we can do
See
with
what
what we
we can
have.
do. And all it takes is one
Sometimes it's
win.
what with what we have left. Yeah. But you say all it takes is what?
All it takes is one win. Yeah, all it takes is the one time where that actually works and y'all
Hey,
pull that
bro,
shit together.
bro,
Like, bruh.
bro. Then it's in you.
Mm,
Then it's like, nah, guys. Yeah, two people left. All right, let's go, guys. What do we
yep.
got? Let's go.
Yep.
Let's see what we can do. Because if you get that W, bro, that feels amazing.
Nothing like it.
If you can still get that W, dang, bro.
I feel like that's where we're at right now. Humanity as a whole, we're at that point. People want to hang their heads. Nah. Let's make some swaps. Let's try something new. That's why I'm aiming at culture now. I'm like, all right, let's address those beliefs. Let's illuminate those beliefs. Let's excavate those. Bring those into the public conversation. Let's start fresh.
Uh, and overall, I'm proud of you for starting. Let's start.
I
Let's go.
appreciate you, man. Hey, I mean, hey, at this point, it's purpose driven. It's funny actually. You've seen a lot of ideas come from me, and I have plenty more ideas. I'm made for this type of thing. I'm an idea guy.
That's what your brain
Um,
does.
that's what it does, man. And I'm looking at ways to go into business myself. I no longer subscribe to the go to the company and split up your wages with all these other things that really don't benefit me. Like, nah, what service can I offer? I'll name the company. I'll do the taxes. You pay me. Me
Yeah,
and you, right?
I interact with you. Yeah,
That's it. That's it. Like,
yeah.
that's been the calling. But to get there, you got to take ownership of some things, which leads to this next particular topic and section. What are some things in your life that, since taking ownership of it, have changed things immensely for you? And what are some things that you feel humanity can benefit from if we took ownership of them?
Ownership.
accountability, like, all right, that's me.
Hmm. I would say this is going to be an interesting one. Um, I would say for me, one that has been a challenge. No, so when I interact with a, and I'm when I interact with a beautiful woman, that strikes me. Um, I don't know what to say. I'm like, hey, how's it going? What's up? Cool. Because the moment that I start feeling that attraction, I'm like, shoot, I don't know what to do with that.
Right, right.
So I have, so there are some times when I will walk into a place and I will be like, yo, how's it going? I can see a beautiful woman. Yo, how's it going? You doing all right? Cool. I'm like, we can chill and we can like, we can talk, we can interact to a degree. And then there are other times when I can walk in and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to say, so I'm just gonna keep my head down. Like that is
Mm,
what I'm gonna do for today. You know, um,
yeah.
that for me has been something that I've noticed can be either more in place or it can be less in place. It's an insecurity of mine. That it's an insecurity of mine. So that right there, I would say, is part of the ownership there. Recognizing that, like sometimes, dude, I just don't have the words, and I still got to go to the gym, and I still got to get my workout in, and I still got to get home, and I got to make this call today. Um, I still have things that I need to do. Like that's it might be an insecurity. I know that it's not going to be there forever because of the direction that life is moving for me. But
Mm,
nonetheless, in the meantime, while it's present, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. So I'd say essentially, and I'm not sure if this captures your question well, but owning that insecurity particularly.
yeah. I think that's something everyone feels to a certain degree, and people find it difficult to own insecurity. I think more often than not, having experienced the pretty woman effect, where, your whole center is moved and shaken in the presence of someone that you're attracted to,
Yep,
especially like deeply attracted to, you immediately become self conscious. And
yep,
it's easy in that moment to shame yourself for feeling that way. We all do it, especially getting rejected, right? Or she doesn't react the way you want her to, or she seems dismissive. And you're kind of like, wow, I feel lame.
yep.
That's tough,
Time to go to
man.
the gym.
Right. Got to put
Hey,
that
yo,
somewhere.
you
And
still
I
got to get
think
that done. I mean,
you do. And it's one of those things where I think also culturally, I want to reinstill the value of those experiences. I was talking with a buddy some time ago, it was Paul, about confidence. I've had people in numerous spaces and times in my life come to me and ask me questions about confidence. And, they're like, yeah, man, you exude it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bruh, if you could see the inside of my head, you'll find that I feel exactly like you do. Because confidence is something everyone has. But here's the twist. Your confidence, it's always somewhere. So when you're talking to someone that you think subconsciously is out of your league, you're confident that you can't do this. And that's why the words go
interesting.
away, right?
Yeah,
And so it's reframing that confidence, placing it somewhere more secure. Maybe maybe I shouldn't anchor my confidence to her reaction, even though her reaction is what I'm looking for, the outcome, I want it to be positive. Maybe my confidence is in my ability and the courage it takes to strike up the conversation.
cool.
And over time, framing things in that way, I do develop confidence. because I'm exposing myself to this more regularly. I'm showing up more. And just
Yeah.
like your muscles begin to tone and grow with subsequent visits to the gym, subsequent conversations, ways of throwing yourself out there, jokes, flirting, things of that nature, it instills a sense of confidence. And once you start getting that feedback, it only helps you along the way. It doesn't mean that when she rejects you or doesn't pay attention to you, that it hurts less. It's still going to hurt. But you know it's just a matter of showing up again next time.
Yep. And I do think that as I've gone through life, like some of the rejection that I've dealt with, not just in the romantic space, but in life in general, it's like
Mm.
rather it's like any kind of obstacle that might come up. Um, I've gotten a lot stronger at facing the obstacles. So, like when there is like, hey, like I have to get this done. The tax place is calling me. They want their money. This demand might be at work. I got to make sure to get this done. All these things. It's not something that is like, man, how am I gonna do this? I'm just gonna lay down, go to sleep, and hope it gets better in the morning. It's like, okay, this is what I need to do, and I am standing here. I'm here. It's going to be a process, but I can show up and I can do this. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some time, but overall, what I'm getting at is that those things they don't have as much of an effect as I continue to grow through life. Those things don't hold me back as much as I continue to walk through.
It's amazing. I think it also indicates just how powerful we are as well. We're so powerful that we can cut ourselves off from improvement. We can talk ourselves out of doing it. That's insane to me. And I think it's an indicator of the opposite. It shows just how powerful we are. It's a shift in mindset that allows us to step into abundance and
Yeah.
power and confidence.
Mindset is mindset is definitely something to get into though, because people talk about shifting mindsets, and it's like, well, what exactly does that? Where does that come from?
Mm.
Um, and I asked that question with with a little bit of an answer. Um,
Um,
and
can you either speak up or get closer
how
to
about
your
that?
mic? It's a little faint. Go
Is
for it.
that better?
More,
Is
more.
that better? No.
No, I
All
need
right.
I need a little more.
Okay. All right. Let me know. Does this change it?
It's about the same, but
Guys,
I'll just I just want to I want to make sure that everyone can hear you. Do you have are you
does
speaking
this
into
change it?
the laptop mic itself, like just straight
No.
into the speaker? Okay.
No. This is my actual Yeti quality. Should be sounding excellent.
Yeah.
Microphone.
It's just low.
How can I change this? Does that sound any better? Is that any
Oh.
better?
Yeah, a little bit, little bit.
Still no.
We're getting some
Is it a
yellow.
little bit?
Little bit, little
What's
bit.
yellow?
You just gotta maybe enunciate. Speak even more from that gut.
All right, all right. Yeah, you need you're looking for the real shit.
Yeah, I need that
You're looking
volume.
for the soul. All
I
right,
need that soul, my boy.
all right. Turn it down. Turn it down. All right,
You want it down?
all right, all right. See, that's it. That's what I mean. That right there. Like I said. I got you with the volume, but we're gonna have to have a side conversation, bro, about just some of the other implications of your speech, because bro, like as you can tell, I'm you know what I mean, like I'm not hearing any feedback. I'm not sure. Are you still present on the microphone right now, or did you
Yes,
just
sir. Yes, sir. Oh, are you not hearing me? Can you?
look? So the give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not sure how I could actually. How did I turn this thing up?
So you have an option here. Go to your your little start menu.
Okay.
Here, let me see what we can do here. Go to just type in sound in that little search bar, and you should be able to adjust some volume at the bottom.
Sound.
Yeah, like sound settings.
Okay, I see like
So I'm
sound
guessing that
input
your mic is
device
just low.
properties, sound mixer. Okay, so
So
how
at the
can I turn it
bottom,
up? Is that any better? No,
say more
that's the
stuff.
output. Test, test, test,
That's
test,
about the
test,
same.
test. Did
I
that
mean,
change a lot
look,
for you?
I'm just gonna boost your volume when I edit it, but yeah, it's just a little low. I think it might just it either only captures a very like a lower decibel, but the quality
Yeah.
is nice. Or there's
Oh, I
some
see.
setting we can use to boost her up.
All right. Um. Yeah. I guess I'll look around, see if I'm able to find something that
Yeah.
might be able to help out. Let's see, spatial sound. All right. But what was the topic? What were we talking about?
So we were talking a bit about confidence and like the source of that.
Okay. And
Um,
mindset.
right, and perspective. Yeah, the mindset and how we can talk ourselves in and out of things.
Yep.
I think
Okay.
you may have had an
So,
example.
so with mindset, I would say that so there are a couple things that play a role. And one thing that, I mean, a lot of it, honestly, I think comes from, um, I'm still looking for the sound thing. A
No
lot
problem.
of
No
it,
problem.
a lot of it comes down to partial. Okay. I won't even say a lot of it. I'll stop there. All right. Because it's like a
Okay.
mixture of different things that seems to affect your mindset. But one thing that I will emphasize is that the people that you talk to and the people that you communicate with will have an effect. Um, that is very important. Um, what we I would say the things that I think about after watching a certain show versus watching a different show are going to be different. So I might watch one show and be like, "Whoa, that was entertaining." I, I love when he might be an anime. I love when he slashed that guy and he didn't da da da. Although this also leads to another thing really quick that that seems like as you grow, you pay attention to different things and different things stand out to you as you watch different shows. But that's just a cool thing that I've noticed. But but the idea is that what you're watching, and if you're watching people like, hey, like I just watched 30 minutes of this person basically like giving up on what they're trying to do with all of this sad, depressing music. How does that make you feel? Versus watching a movie where you just saw this person triumph through hell and high water, and they're like, "Yeah, I freaking did it." Like what does that feel like? What's the difference between those two? Um, so I would say that, and then I guess the second thing, like I said, would say the people that you surround yourself with because of the topics that they're talking about. Are they excited about the topics that they're talking about? Like those things do seem to affect us.
Absolutely. Can I suggest something you can try to turn your mic volume up?
Sure.
Okay. So do you have like a search bar in your bottom left section of the screen?
Yep.
Okay. Type in sound there. You'll see an option that says sound settings.
Okay.
Click that. Okay, you should see sound at the top. There's a thing that says output, and then there's one that says input, and it should have your microphone chosen on that menu. That's there, right?
No. Mine says change system sound, sound mixer options, sound input device properties.
Okay. Let's go with input device properties. Click that. You should be able to see your microphone, and there's like a volume.
How's that?
Oh, much better, brother. Are you
There
all the
we
way up?
go. No, I'm at 47. I can still go higher.
Yeah, go a little higher.
81. How's that?
Let's do like
That
60. Do 60. That should be perfect.
this is 60.
Do 70. That should do it.
Okay. This is
Perfect.
70. 70?
Much better, dude. Yes, yes.
Perfect, man.
Okay.
Thank you so
There we
much.
go. No
Perfect.
problem, no problem.
Perfect. Yep. So
Okay.
yeah, essentially, the people that you associate with. So like, if you're trying to change your mindset and like you are, you're currently a person who, we stay in the house and we're like, yeah, like I'm just gonna change my mindset. It's like, well, there might be certain things that can help you out in changing your mindset. And I think that there are a lot of different factors that come into play. And that doesn't have to be something overwhelming. Um, but I say that there's a lot of different factors because I think that um, it will help you to bring more awareness to how you're feeling when you're interacting with certain things. So let's say like the last time that I remember that we were at that hotel and we were kind of looking at like how the lighting might kind of affect like your mood. Like if you have this light on, what does
Yeah.
it feel like? If you have this light, yeah, like if you have this light off, what does it feel like? If your lights are white, what does it feel like? If your lights are orange, what does that feel like? Like
Mm.
um so the lighting inside of your place, like having a clean house, um having maybe colors or things that inspire you around you so that when you wake up you see things that inspire you. Like there's a lot that can go into mindset. And it's just kind of, first of all, I'd say just starting small and then being aware of how things are affecting you, paying attention to those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that measured, gradual approach and that awareness ultimately leads us to where we want to go. It gives us some sense of direction and all the flux of life, especially when we're talking about things like confidence. I had a realization a couple years back. In my personal opinion, the philosopher's stone is perspective. It's outlook. It's a source of infinite power. It can get us through anything. It can get us to anything. The right mindset sets us up to move through life and all the challenges, obstacles, people, social circles, puzzles, and labyrinths. I wouldn't say unscathed, but it'll get us to our destination should we hold fast to it and nurture it and refine it. And so I think our collective philosopher's stone needs some tending to.
It needs to be dusted off.
Yeah. We got to get clear on what the jewel is together.
Hmm.
And I think it's more possible now than has ever been possible in human history.
I would
Everything is
agree.
up for grabs right now, man.
Yep. And I would agree because we have so much exposure to information, different perspectives. Um, and that, when you see one person who looks at life this way, or you see another person that looks at life this way, and you're like, okay. So I see that they're looking at life. So you're looking at life as nothing can be changed. This is a system that is the worst system that you can imagine. You're looking at life as this is a system that might not be the best for a human, but nonetheless, this is what it is. So I'm going to work with it. And you look at these two perspectives, and then you see like, okay, well, what is one doing? Like neither perspective is wrong, but this first perspective might result in, okay, so I go to work and then I feel miserable and I hate my job and I hate this and I hate this. One of them might be a little bit disempowering compared to the other one. So which one is going to work for you? It's just a choice.
Mm,
It's not good, bad, none of that. It's just like which one functions. Or you might find a third perspective, right? Like that's also possible. Or a seventh, but
yeah.
between your options, you get to choose.
And I think at the core, It's the ability to choose. It's recognizing that we can choose. It's the fact that we are constantly subject to change and we can change ourselves. It's,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
whole
man.
neuroplasticity concept, right? Like
Yeah.
when we really understand that, we realize that today I can start something completely new.
Hmm.
I can change everything right now in this moment.
You have the power to do that. And it's weird because I feel like there's a momentum at a certain point. Like it seems like even if I wanted to go back to a point of everything is hopeless, nothing is going to change. It's like the momentum that's been created in terms of my shoes being organized over there in the corner is like,
Mm,
no. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it, it's like the smallest things. Like, yo, like I organized this space so that you can walk into it and feel good. You know, past Cedric
yeah.
did that. Past Cedric, thank you, man. You know what? Like, and there's like there's past versions of all of us, and it's like so. And I guess the part that's changing is the choices that we're making day to day.
Agreed. Agreed. I love that, man. I love that, that central idea has been sort of a thread throughout this conversation, just that change is possible now. I remember it's a combination of several books, but I remember truly framing this in a way that really helped me transcend some of my emotional issues I was having at a very, very sensitive time in my life. And it's the idea that literally each and every moment is a building block toward wherever it is that you're aiming. So if you want to be more confident, you want to be more charming, or you want this particular skill set, then we need to fill the moments that we have with steps toward it. Right. So it's like, all right, yeah, I want to be more social. You can start right now.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be extreme. You just, in this moment, I'm gonna stay in the conversation a little longer.
yeah,
Right. And then maybe
yeah,
later, if I get invited out for drinks, I'll have a couple with them.
yeah,
I don't know what that person in accounting thinks about me. I don't know what their energy is like. Uh, Make a joke.
yeah,
Talk to, you know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
the culmination of all those little changes and choices that end up landing us in a completely different sphere of influence a month later. It's that quick.
and ask them how their day is going. How's your day going?
Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo.
things
Man.
are small.
It's amazing, man, and I think that that'll be what the name of this episode is centered around. It's about that malleability, man.
Hmm.
Um, God, this is
Yeah, because
I
we're
love
not
this
we're
for
not
you.
stuck, dude, and that's
We're
so
not.
important to realize. A lot of people, certainly, I'm sure I can't say a lot of people do feel stuck, but um, I can say I think that a lot of people feel stuck, and you don't have to.
You
You
don't.
don't have to. Yeah, like you are changing constantly. So sometimes, sometimes it might be for the sake of like reinforce. You might just be reinforcing some of the ideas that you have. But what if you step off that track a little bit? See what happens.
Yeah. Take a look. Take a look at how things might look from this perspective. I there was a point in my life where I was like, I'm going to. Oh, I dropped my chapstick.
See you later,
I'm going
chopstick.
to. He said, "Shout out chapstick."
Nah, I said see you later, chopstick.
Oh, Caesar. Oh,
That
yeah,
would have been
yeah.
better though. Shout out chopstick. What's
That
up,
would have been
chopstick?
funny as fuck.
Yeah.
Um, there was a point where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go into stand-up comedy," and I still think about it. And I have plans for that. But the thing that really stuck out, I was thinking to myself, "Do I have anything to say? What is my point of view?" Successful comedians, stand-up comedians specifically, have a strong point of view, and it's sales. It's the same muscle as a salesman. What I'm doing is I'm selling you on my perspective. My goal is not for you to think like me. It's for you to understand the humor that I'm trying to show you. And so you'll have to get into my shoes. How successfully I get you into my shoes, into my perspective, even if that's not how you see the world, ultimately is what contributes to the punchline. It's what allows me to surprise people with this conclusion that makes them laugh because we're laughing at surprise. And what I find is that, and this is something I had to study, I read a lot of books on it, and because that's what I do. When I take up something, I want to learn as much as I can about it, and I treat it like a road to mastery. It's one of my favorite books. I'd recommend that book to literally everyone alive. It's The Courage to Be Disliked and Mastery.
Actually,
Mastery is by Robert Greene, and it's a long one, but it changed my life, and I've listened to it 5 times now. No, 4. Um, I'll probably be returning to it relatively soon, but the central point here is that the source for your comedy or your point of view is the experiences of your life. If you're not interacting with the world, chewing on new ideas and perspectives, people watching, what the hell are you going to talk about on stage, bro?
I haven't really been talked
You're
about
not going
aside
to
from
have
like
shit.
TV shows. But even those, like the TV shows, you didn't really interact. There wasn't like you weren't a player in that interaction.
Bingo.
You know,
But
it
even that
wasn't.
can be a way to step out, right?
Oh,
And to get new ideas into your sphere, right? And so it's that
yeah, and I
go ahead, go
also
ahead.
and really quick, I don't want to downplay TV because, like I said, I do feel like the things that you consume do affect you. So if you're watching like, I actually wish that I grew up watching things like Friends and sitcoms and things like that because there's a certain flow to those interactions that you can get, um, that you won't get from anime. Not that I just watch
Mm,
anime, but like like obviously like anime is very different compared to like the natural flow of an interaction in Parks and Recreation, The Office, shows like those.
yeah.
Um, and those things affect you too because they give you like new ways. So okay, if I'm in this situation, how did all I can think of is Sheldon and Big Bang Theory, but
Hmm.
probably not the best example. But I could be like, well, how did Sheldon interact in this circumstance when he was in this situation?
Yeah.
Or in Friends, how did they interact when they were in this situation? Like I don't want to be like, how did Naruto interact? And then I start like doing an internal dialogue, like maybe this might not be this might be, like that's not going to work, But I didn't want to deviate too far from your point, but I did want to
no,
emphasize that though.
no. Honestly, I think that is really central and integral to the point as well. I think you can do it with Naruto, but the thing is, it's about figuring out what makes that person tick. By being exposed to somebody as brave, reckless, and helplessly sincere as Naruto,
Hmm.
you're able to recognize the people in your life that embody that. Like, I know a Naruto. I know a
Yeah.
Sasuke. Like I
Yep.
exhibit these particular archetypes at different times. And yeah, I don't think you were downplaying television either, uh, by using that as an example. But I think it relates pretty centrally to the idea that I don't have material if I'm not interacting with the world, if I'm not looking at the world, if I'm not seeing it. And so I spend a lot of my time while I'm working listening to podcasts and audiobooks, but I'm selective about what I'm listening to too, right? I'm not just putting any old thing in there. I'm
Yep.
putting interesting ideas in there. I'm putting perspectives that conflict or expand on what I have currently. And what happens is I'm able to now have access to lives I haven't lived. I have vantage points and views on things that wouldn't have just come into my mind randomly, right? Like
Yep.
these are these are the things that allow us to thrive and expand toward our toward a fuller potential as human beings. And it's by healing and mending and making clear the significance and the power of our social connections to each other and our individual ways of expressing that I feel culture can change rapidly, powerfully, and relatively quickly. But it's all a matter of willingness. Are we willing to step out into that space where culture can change?
Mhm. You willing to put yourself in some new situations that you don't know how to navigate right now.
That's right. Uncharted waters, baby.
Yeah.
I'm all
And you're
for
like,
it, dog.
what is going? You might find some laughs in there. You
You
might find some
good,
laughs in there. Yeah.
right? Might find some gold, might find a whole bunch of seaweed or some trash. But
Yeah.
all of it is valuable. Whether you had a good time or a not so good time at a place, you
Because
got
you did
something
it.
new.
You
Yeah,
did it.
you got the experience.
Yep.
And speaking of, brother, this has been an absolutely lovely experience.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Thank you for giving us a place to have this conversation and hopefully in a way that will be able to empower people.
I mean, definitely. And one thing about the format of the show that I always want to emphasize is that I intend and I hope to have you back multiple times over the years that come to see
Yep.
what new things have entered your sphere, right? So our next episode together will be about the things we've learned since. It'll
Hmm.
be about right, and it's a growing dynamic relationship that is in a way documented for people to see. And I
Yep.
think as people see us continue to evolve by side and develop on the things that we talk about, it's going to encourage people to do that in their own lives, man. And
Cool.
I just want to take this moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man, from the depths of my soul, dude.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for being my friend. Thank you for being Cedric, being genuine, being vulnerable, being sincere. Thank you for
Yep.
being willing to step onto this platform with me and
Yep.
entertain this idea and run with this format with me.
Yep.
And
You are
thank you.
100% welcome.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you for all the things you intend to do as well. Because, I don't get to see all of the lives that you impact and change on the day to day basis. But I
Yep.
know that you are impacting and changing lives on a day to day basis. And not under the guise of you need to change. Like, no,
No.
it's just you showing up in that space. And what you're
Yep.
doing is you're encouraging others to do that by example. And that's all I'm trying to do with this particular show or any kind of art. And so I just want to, I genuinely thank you for being a part of this process. Um, and being here, man. I really hope to have you on again, man.
Yep. And you will. And last thing that I'll say on that topic particularly is if you'd have asked me like 2 months ago about the about what affects mindset, I I definitely wouldn't have had the same answer as I did today. So
Hmm.
it doesn't really take long to start to um, for me to even change. Like I said, like those that's something that I learned some from people that I interacted with, and I'm like just kind of starting to interact with more and different people. So it's um it's definitely something that can change pretty quickly. So change doesn't have to be like a super long process. But
Yeah.
I would definitely say like starting small definitely helps out. Just notice small stuff. And in terms of the gratitude, Jay, thank you. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for all the laughs. Like, thank you for literally coming and showing up at family events. Like, thank you for all of it, bro. I 100% appreciate you. So, thank you for being my brother. That's what I got, yo.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
It was my honor and pleasure to do it then, and I look forward to doing it some more in the future, my dude.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna open up our lives financially and time wise, and we will be able to make those memories, man. We will be able to fly to each other with greater ease and greater flexibility than either of us can imagine right now. It's
Can't
just a
wait.
matter of perspective and direction, ain't it?
I see where we're going.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We're already on our way, man.
I know.
Well, I end each episode the same way. Uh, I'm gonna ask you, what is something that gives you hope for humanity? Some aspect of the human experience. It could be anything. What gives you hope for tomorrow? What gives you hope that it's gonna turn out okay? And at the end of that, I'm just gonna say, it's really good to see you, Cedric, and that's when I'll hit the stop button. But
Sounds good, bro.
yeah, man, take your time with it. It's whatever you want to say. Go for it.
Okay. So I'd say what gives me hope for humanity, and I'd like to say this in such a way that it can appeal to other people, but I'm just going to here I'm going to talk about my own experience, and I'm going to see if that is as effective. I guess we'll find out. We don't know,
Oh
but
yeah.
um, the main thing that gives me hope for humanity has been the development of something inside of me that wants to that is fun, that is present, that wants to express, that wants to connect, that wants to be here, um, wants to enjoy life, wants to dance. And for me, I refer to that as my soul, something that is not far from me, um, compared to day to day life where you like kind of have to you go to work, you need to do these things, there are these expectations, etc. I know that there's this other part to me that seems to be coming further into existence, and wanting to do these things, wanting to connect with people, and that part is continuing to grow. So that's not something that I have control over. That's not something that is calculated by me. That's something that is naturally there. So the fact that that part that enjoys life and gives me so much joy is able to continue to grow and continue to find ways for it to express itself. um, it shows that me, at least, that my life is moving in a more positive open direction, and the way that I affect people when that part of me is out is is definitely, I guess, just showing me that, hey, like, there's something going on here. It's not conscious by me, it's not orchestrated by me, but there's something going on here, and I want to see what that does. I want to see where it goes. That's what gives me hope.
Beautiful, brother. It's really good to see you,
Good.
Cedric.
It's good to see you too, man.
I'll see you again soon.
All right, let's dance.